conversations lead to closings eventually. How are you going to have more conversations? What is going to start those conversations? And there's many ways to do that. Focus on one to start. Become a master of that one. Maximize that one before you go to the second one. Don't host 7 open houses a week and then you're not saving the contact information for any of the people that you meet. You get 1, 2, 3 leads a day, but you don't follow up with them or you don't put these people in your database, right? There's nearly an infinite number of ways to develop relationships, foster relationships, get leads, etc. But you can't be a master of all those. So, are you good on the phone? Do you want to call expired?
Please call expireds. Yes, yes, yes.
Do you want to jump on social media? Do you want to have useful information on Instagram and TikTok? Do you want to do open houses and make connections with the humans right up front, one-on-one? Do start with one thing, do that one thing well.
You're listening to the #1 real estate podcast in the world. We talk with real estate professionals all across North America about their wins, losses, lessons, and stories help you win in your local market today. My name is Cody from Sheridan Street. I'm joined with Vikram Deol of the Real Estate Sales Academy. We got some, if you're not watching the episode on YouTube, we have some Lindt chocolates in front of us, some wine at 6 p.m. on a Friday. We have a podcast that we are recording. If this is your first time tuning in, I want to say thank you for your attention. We've doubled the downloads on iTunes and Spotify over the last couple of months. And
a lot of it's come from shares and from reviews from you guys. Past
clients or
but
guests. Past guests.
But a lot of them come from the reviews from listeners. And you guys, I don't know if you send messages to Cody, but I've been getting a couple of love messages in the Instagram, Coach Vikram Deol, or you can follow Cody at Codmay. Yep, CODMAY. You guys, I was telling Cody earlier because we had to break down our whole setup and then put it back together. I was like, man, dude, those little messages that you guys send us, like, hey, this really worked, or hey, we really like that guest or this guest. Can you put more of this or that on there? Like, it matters to us. So if you do get value, right? This isn't a monetized show at the moment, although
I'm not against it.
Not either. We will take your money and we will promote you. And we do appreciate you. Our guests appreciate you. Whenever we get a shout out to one of our guests, we share it with them and they do appreciate it as well. So, this market's tough. Market's hard as shit right now for a lot of agents, and with volume down in a lot of markets, 30, 40, 50%.
We're playing the market share game now.
Yeah, like you have to go out and do the things that are going to make you win. And one of the things that will make you win is continuing. There's 227 episodes in the last 12 months. You guys, this is relevant, timely information. It's not like 230 episodes over the last 6 years in 2021 when the market was hot and everybody was winning. This is all in the last year when the market's been shit and everybody's getting their face kicked in.
And for those that don't know, like we actually, when in 2022, when the market turned, like part of the reason we started the Origin podcast was because of the fact that the market had turned in the back half of 22. And me and Vikram were sitting there being like, man, there's a lot of people getting their faces pounded in.
Well, we're getting our faces pounded in too. Like you guys, we were there with you because our clients were like, yo, shit's hitting the fan.
Yeah.
Everything stopped in real estate for agents for like a while.
The way we explained it, you and I were having this conversation the other day, the best way to explain it is like, if you go back to 2020 and you see how restaurants dealt with the pandemic in 2020, like they literally felt like everything was falling apart for them. And like when 2022 hit and the market changed, a lot of real estate agents and even real estate agents now are facing the backlash of the transaction volume literally falling off a cliff in 2022. And certain agents, like the whole reason we bring agents that are doing consistent deals or that have different tactics and different things that are working for them is so that you can take the content that and the things that they're doing in their local market, whether it be, like we had an episode where somebody they monetize through garage sales, or they farm different areas, or they do social media, or they do YouTube. There's so many different tactics out there, but the end of the day, it comes down to, are you consistent with your message, and are you consistent with your marketing, and are you consistent with your conversations?
Totally. And I'm going to keep plugging this before we bring in our guests, who I'm excited because, for 18 years, 19 years, he's consistently produced, right? And like that is not an easy thing. Like you have a banner year, cool, but to consistently put out the effort, to do the boring work, right? Alex and Layla that wine's kicking. To do the work consistently, right? Like that's where millionaires and billionaires are made. It's not because, I did this cool thing on social media and it worked. It's doing the work day in and day out when you're bored out of your mind. And Cody and I are bringing back our webinars that so many of you loved and asked for. And, we got messages, hey, when's the next training you're going to do? When's the next free training? Because Cody does like stuff about how to generate leads. I do stuff about how to take the leads in your database and actually turn them into raving fans instead of just one transaction. So we are bringing that back for you next year. They're going to be longer. They're going to be stronger. They're going to be more time for you to ask questions so that we can help you implement. They're going to be weekly so that it's free training, right? Because one of the things that I've learned from Sharon and Tamir over at Real Brokers is it's cool to help a small amount of people, but it's really cool to help a large amount of people. So we're actually opening up our playbooks like we've never opened them before. And we are going to share even more, and we're going to do a lot of cool things. So if you guys want access to those, you got to get on one of our mailing lists and just go into the comments here of YouTube or Instagram, wherever you're, and just put webinar, and we will send you the Cody will send you the information because I'm not going to do it. No, I'm kidding. We will get you the information. Somebody on our team will get you the information, and we will make sure that you are on those emails as well. So anything else you got, brother?
No, man, I think you tackled it. I think now is the time for us to bring in our guest and to chat about consistency.
You do it, bro. I'm drinking.
We have someone that is in multiple markets today, serving multiple markets. We chatted in the green room about consistency, and that's been a big catalyst conversation that we've had with a lot of different guests, but also a lot of agents that we advise and we coach. And the big conversation is like, how do we get consistent with our activity so that we can create consistent results? We've Kaushik with us today. Why don't you give us the 60-second elevator pitch or the 60-second Cliff Notes version of how you got into real estate? You can tell us a little bit about the markets that you serve, what you're up to, what you're doing, and then we'll jam.
Thank you, gentlemen. Kaushik Sirkar, the Sirkar Group at Real Broker, serving all of Arizona and all of California. Been in the game since 2006, including my part-time years, 2009 full-time. I'm originally an engineer, chemical engineer, and when I was working in corporate America, I got my real estate license just for my own investment property. My coworkers, they heard about my license, help me buy this, help me sell this. Next thing you know, I took my real estate business full time and expanded it over a couple of states, and we've been rocking and rolling ever since. I think it was 59 seconds.
That was
that was definitely an engineer. He was down to the second. He's like, I got 3 seconds left. What now?
That was talented. That was talented. Like I'm like literally like step-by-step playbook. Like
you know what? I want to go slightly different before we go into the consistency model, because it'll probably lean into it. But I've met, when I was in production, I was in Bellevue, and we had a lot of not engineers like in the oil field engineers, but like tech engineers. And they were really, really like certain things super focused, other things they couldn't put their shirt on and tuck it in properly. Like I just can't understand why those guys couldn't tuck a shirt in. But when it came to like time management for their work, they were on point. Do you feel that your background in corporate America, being an engineer, has been in benefit, or how has it benefited? If that's a yes, it's benefited your business. How do you think that's benefited your business? And what can agents that maybe don't have your ability to stay consistent, how does it help them? So 3-part question. Has it helped you in your business?
It absolutely has, without a doubt.
And how do you think it's helped you?
It's helped me partially along the lines that you guys are talking about with regards to time management, having a schedule. I mean, If nothing else in corporate America, you learn how to use Outlook, you learn how to set blocks of time for specific tasks and whatnot. I think the time in corporate America has helped me in particular because, no offense to those who sell used cars, but I didn't just come off of a used car lot selling used Dodges and Fords to suddenly selling real estate. I came from a different background, and a lot of my, let's say my technical, my engineer, my medical clients can appreciate the background I came to. It's a little more relatable to who those people are.
And how can we utilize, because, right, like I have an MBA, but I don't talk about it because I don't know that I learned anything in school. I learned how to put groups together. I learned how to, it was obviously useful. One of my best friends was from that program, so I guess it was worth the however many rupees that was shelled out. But how do agents that didn't come necessarily from a structured background, how would you coach like a newer agent or even an agent that's been in business for a while, but they've been very charismatic, their business has kind of come naturally, and now the market's shifted and we need to help them. If you guys are watching, Cody just killed a gnat in his wine glass.
Yeah.
How do we help? I told you it was going to be an interesting one. I'm a little tipsy. I'm a big half glass in right now. How do we utilize that information to help agents become more efficient with their time?
I think part of it is a realization that the market is different than it was a year or 2 years ago. If you were an agent in 2021, it's all you could do just to keep up with your clientele, showing them the homes, dealing with the 10 offers on your listings, et cetera. You spent 90, 95, 99% of your time servicing your clientele. You spent a very small fraction of your time prospecting for new clients. That is not the reality. That is not the new current normal. The new normal states that you're probably not overloaded with clients knocking down your door, right? You service your clients that you have, but that's not taking up 99% of your time anymore. So a big chunk of your time is now spent prospecting, right? If you're servicing clients in 2021, spending 99% of your time doing that, and now you're spending 40% of your time servicing your clients, you've got a big chunk of time that you should allocate efficiently towards new client acquisition.
What is new? Talk about allocation. What practically can someone do? Because I'll give you an example. So Vic was on a call today because we're working and traveling together right now. Vic's on a call with an agent who thinks what he needs is more qualified leads.
I didn't even know that he knows the definition of qualified leads.
Yeah. So, so many agents out there right now that are doing let's call it, 3, 4, 5 deals a year. They're in search of all of a sudden, it's like these new qualified leads are just going to land on my lap. How are you cultivating what you would consider a qualified lead? Because I'm guessing you're not just sitting around, praying to the referral gods.
Dude, I saw in his other office, I saw his router. It had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It had 12 antennas on it. I bet you that thing is
praying to the referral
I
gods.
bet you that thing is working all night long, and that's just generating you leads. Because how else would you get leads in this market, right?
Magically.
Dude, Cody, can we buy a bigger router for the...
We need to buy a bigger router just for here.
Jeez Louise. So Cody's question.
Yeah, what, in order to create the consistency you've created, maybe walk us through, because for you to consistently do 25 plus deals a year, some, we chatted in the green room, some years higher, some years lower. What is how do you think that you created the consistency that you've created in the business?
The advice I give to agents, and I mentor some agents, Real Broker is a great platform for that, is try to do certain things well. There's nearly an infinite number of ways to develop relationships, foster relationships, get leads, et cetera, et cetera. But you can't be a master of all those. So are you good on the phone? Do you want to call expired? Are you good setting up an e-blast?
Yes, please call expireds. Yes.
Do you have a large database? Do you want to set up an e-blast to hit these people on a regular basis? Do you want to jump on social media? Do you want to have useful information on Instagram and TikTok? Do you want to have comedic information on Instagram and TikTok? Do you want to do open houses and make connections with the humans right up front, one-on-one? Do you want to attend happy hours and networking events and meet people and get their contact info and put them on your e-blast? Or there's so many ways to, I've got some associates, they say conversations lead to closings eventually. How are you going to have more conversations? What is going to start those conversations? And there's many ways to do that. We just touched on some of them. Focus on one to start. Become a master of that one. Maximize that one before you go to the second one. Don't host 7 open houses a week and then you're not saving the contact information for any of the people that you meet. That's useless, right? Don't sign up for a lead service. I don't do any of that, but some people do, where you get 1, 2, 3 leads a day, but you don't follow up with them or you don't put these people in your database, right? Do start with one thing, do that one thing well.
Bro, so, there's a couple of things. One, everybody thinks that just because 2021, a lot of agents were really busy, that all agents were busy.
Yeah. No.
And not everybody was killing it and crushing it. And sure, there might have been more people doing more deals, but there's also a lot of people doing a lot more deals that are still doing a lot of deals now. Yeah. So like, if you were in 2021 and you didn't have prospecting in your schedule and you didn't have some sort of outreach program, you still didn't do a lot of business, because I talked to those people. Right. And even people who did stuff, but they didn't do well because the market still is going to send the best people, the best qualified people. Right. So like, you have to still work on your stuff. The second thing I want to give you props is you didn't call them leads, you called them humans at open houses. And that touched a spot in my heart that I think is really important, because Cody came up with this term, or he heard this term at a conference. It's humans over homes, and it's let's humanize the lead generation world that we all live in. Because if we start to think about it as human beings, right? Cody and I had a conversation after we interviewed Tamir on episode number 100. And Tamir said something, I don't even remember what it said, but I looked at Cody. We're in Medellin, Colombia, and we're walking through Provenza. I'm going to our favorite coffee shop. And I looked at Cody and I was like, hey, we have to change our messaging. And he's like, yeah. And I was like, no, we have to change our messaging. And he's like, yeah. And I stopped and I said, humans over homes. And he's like, yeah. I was like, we're not doing that on our podcast. And he's like, he stopped and he's like, what are you talking about? And we looked at each other and I said, if we want to help people, even though the content we're producing is amazing, we're not treating them like humans. Because agents' jobs are, and I am an agent. I've been an agent. I've been in the trenches. Cody's never been, but he's been an entrepreneur. He's been in the trenches, right? And him and I have shared tears together walking during tough weeks of our lives, right? It's not about selling a home. It's about having a conversation with a human. If we stop asking stupid questions like you guys didn't see what happened, but Kaushik just pointed to his ears. You have to, why'd you point to your ears, man? I'm curious to know why you pointed your ears.
Stop asking the stupid questions. Listen to what your client or your prospective client is saying and asking.
So can we, I think that helps with consistency, because I have a belief that the reason we don't prospect, because you guys, I'm guilty. I've had 9 businesses in my life, and not every business I love prospecting in right away, because I didn't know what to say and I didn't know what to listen for, because I didn't know the pain points of my prospect well enough. So when you say the word listen, oh bro, the wine's kicking. I think I'm going to drink on every Friday. When you say the word listen, right? And you say we need to ask better questions and listen more. What are the things that you are listening for in today's market that you can help a prospect? Because bro, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 35 deals a year, fucking phenomenal. Kudos. That is not easy to do as a solo agent in a good market, leave alone a bad market. So what are you listening for?
What are the humans, because they are humans, everybody is a person. It all comes down to a relationship. You need a relationship before you're going to sell somebody a home, a good relationship, ideally. I listen for pain points, right? Is the payment the problem? Right? Is the interest rate the problem? If we negotiate a buy down that saves them on interest rate for a couple of years, is that going to solve their problem? What is the single most difficult issue that buyer or that seller is facing? What is issue number 2? What is issue number 3? What can we do to resolve or at least mitigate somewhat those particular issues, right? If a buyer is looking for a home in a great school district, but those are out of their price range, can we get them something smaller in that district? What is the next best district that is more affordable? Listen and try and come up with solutions and discuss those potential solutions.
How, like, we talk about, and I love that, like the solution mindset, I think is one of the best things that you could have in any business.
I'm going to solve my problem right now and pour a little bit more wine. Yeah. Cody, you need to drink faster.
Solving problems is massive. Like where my brain immediately goes, like to try to distill this down for an agent, because it's one, like they might have heard this before. They're like, I get it. Like I need to solve the problem that my prospect is having. It's very simple, but it's very difficult. A lot of agents will say that they want to build a relationship, but then they don't actually do the things that build the relationships. Like, what are some key things that you look for when you're building relationships or you're prospecting that allow the end consumer, you think, to choose you? Like you mentioned the white glove service, and a lot of agents talk about that. Well, I give great service, but like practically, what does that look like? What does relationship building practically look like? How do you even get to that point where you can have that conversation where they trust you to find them that home in that school district?
Good question.
Part of it, the initial conversation, the initial meeting at a Starbucks or at the office, There's a little bit of a vibe, right? Initially, there's a phone call or an email. Hey, let's meet, let's chat, right? And when you meet and chat, often, it's a two-way street. You see if the two people are vibing, if there's a connection and there's the possibility of working together, right? Maybe they don't like me from day one. Maybe for whatever reason, they're not a good fit for me. Although I would say 99% of the humans are a good fit for me. But
as long as they got a job and it's 700 credit score.
We're looking for 720 plus, but yes, indeed. But just because you've met does not mean that they trust you fully necessarily, right?
Whoa.
You go look at homes, buyer, right? You got to be honest. You got to keep it real. If there are negatives about a house, you've got to point those out. The beautiful quartz countertops, the lovely view from the back, those items sell themselves. But what the humans might be missing, the buyer might be missing, is the negative. It's my job to make sure they don't make, of course, we want them to make a great decision. But on the other end, let's start off by not making any of the bad decisions as it relates to a purchase. The same thing applies on the sales side, right? Let's say we're in the market 10, 20 days. A seller is wondering what's going on. Let's get an offer. And we get an offer. But it is a questionable offer, maybe low down payment. Maybe I have had bad experiences with that buyer's lender in the past, etc. Then my seller and I have a conversation. Perhaps my advice is, hey, I know we have not had an offer. It's 20 days. We still might want to pass on that one, right? They appreciate it. The humans, the clients appreciate it when we're not trying to make a quick buck off of them, when we're really trying to do what is in their best interest.
There's something that you said that I don't want to glance over. You said like maybe there was a buyer's agent that brought a offer to the table that like they're known for not actually getting the deal done. I think far too many agents, like I've seen a lot of great agents that do agent-to-agent referrals really well, that they are able to not just build a relationship with the people that are in their industry, but their clients as well, and then vice versa. But the bigger thing, and my question for you is like, I know that you're with Real. I know that you have a great network there.
Yeah.
But even outside of the Real network, when you're doing a deal with another agent, what are like the top 3 things that you look for? Because like you've done the consistent deal flow where not every agent, like some years might be better than others. Like there's a lot of ups and downs. Like what do you think inside of the context of consistency allows you to A, get your offers accepted, but B, allow you to make sure that you have a great relationship with the agents in different markets that you do business with?
Much like the client has and needs to develop a relationship with the realtor, the same thing at some level applies realtor to realtor. If I get an offer on one of my listings and I reach out and I talk to that buyer's agent and I can tell their experience, I look them up on Zillow, they've sold some homes, and they're accessible. I can call them, they get back to me. I can text them, they get back to me. That's a nice start. But if I get an offer on one of my listings and I'm going to do my due diligence and the person has sold, that buyer's agent has sold 2 homes, and I look them up and they've got a day job doing this as an IT professional or this or that, those are red flags. It means I'm not going to be able to get a hold of these people. When there's an issue with the loan, hopefully there is not, but I got to be able to speak to these people. And how do we cross issues? When there are hurdles, how do we cross those hurdles? Those people have never crossed hurdles in a real estate transaction. I've done plus or minus 500 deals. The majority of hurdles, I've seen those hurdles before. If it's an absolute rookie, if they've never seen them, how do we work together to cross those hurdles? Now, if they're engaged, I can get a hold of them, and we can chat and we can figure things out. Great. But if they're inexperienced and inaccessible, that's a bad combination.
Yeah, something I want to pass it over to you because I'm really because I know you work with a lot of agents that are up and down, and they're trying. Like a lot of the agents when they first come to you, they're not doing great, but obviously they start doing better when they're with you. What I'm curious, I want to get both your takes on this. Why do you think that agents, because like with everything you just said, because agents often look to, like you said, you do like good agents do their due diligence, but so many agents that are doing like 3, 5, 7, 10 deals a year, they're so reluctant to join a team because like, oh, my splits. It's like, but they're not doing enough deals yet. Agents that are doing deals often want to do deals with other teams that are producing volume. Like, why do you think there is a reluctance towards joining a team or potentially getting outside help towards getting them to the point where they are doing a consistent couple deals a month?
I suspect some people, and mind you, if somebody's closing 3 deals a year versus 10, there's definitely a difference there. There's a gradient there. But if somebody's closing 3 and they want to close 10 and they want to close 20 and they want to close 30, it's not going to happen by sitting pat. There are exceptions, of course, right? They have to learn the techniques, the systems, the mannerisms. Some of it is a science, some of it is an art form. And they're only going to learn that from people who've been there and done that. Mm-hmm. Now, often their worry is, oh my goodness, if I join these people, I lose part of my commission, I have a different split, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Look long-term, right? If you have to give up 50%, 30%, 20%, 25%, whatever it is of your commission for 6 months, for a year, and your production jumps from 3 to 10 the next year, and the next year, by the way, you're not doing a split with anybody anymore, and goes to 15 the year after and 20 the year after, they have to have the long-term view. Just like with plumbers, electricians, they have apprenticeships, where often people don't make anything, but they learn the trade. In real estate, the license is relatively easy to get, but the actual practice of real estate and selling homes, easier said than done.
I like the apprentice approach.
Yeah, real estate's the only profession that I know of, professional service, where you don't need an apprenticeship or a mentorship. If you want to go work for a Morgan Stanley and do whatever they do over there, you need to be underneath somebody for a few years. If you want to be an esthetician, you need 2,000 plus hours in the chair working before you can take the test, right? And it's not cheap. Like these are like 10, 20, 30, 40, $50,000 2-year programs, right? Real estate's the only industry where $700, $1,000. So if it's easy to come by, we think it's easy to do. Nobody thinks becoming a doctor or a lawyer is easy. And therefore people think being a doctor or a lawyer is, but because it's easy to become one, we think it's easy to do it. And like you said, it's easy to get your license, but it's not easy to acquire the skills. The other thing is that we are in an industry where there's so much ego. And look, if you're a broker, if you're a team leader, right? If you're a mentor out there, I say this with love. If you have an agent that wants to do 24 deals a year and you've never in your career done 24 deals a year, you should not be mentoring people. I will not mentor people, right? I built a team. We did 7 figures. We did well. But there are people out there that I will refer to my friends because I haven't done what they've done and I don't feel comfortable because I feel like I'm faking the funk. And where they're at in life, I can completely help them. But where they want to go, I'm like, you know what? There's probably somebody better for you. It's learning to drop the ego, right? Brokers, right? Brokers, the term broker is already tells you you're broke. It's broken. Brokerage are broken. I've been saying it for 10 years. The brokerage model has been broken. EXP started to fix it. I think Real's taken it to another level. Cloud-based is the way to go. There's so much more support. There's so much more collaboration. There's so much more training. I'm with Real. Kaushik's with Real. Go join EXP. I don't care. Real's not perfect. EXP is not perfect. But I can tell you, if your brokerage, which I paid over 150 grand into mine, I didn't get a fucking CRM. The cool thing about my broker, and I'll respect Roger Harwood for this, was when I told him that I was with a coach, he's like, good for you. Stay with him. He never said to me, he said, hey, we do the ninja program. He's like, but you've already been through it. He's like, that's what we train on.
Yeah.
I was like, I didn't really like it because I don't want to ask like certain types of questions because they didn't feel authentic. And when I asked those questions, I got a lot of resistance from prospects. And we did a lot of online leads, expired, open houses. I was in a brand new market, Zillow, you name it. Brokers give bad advice because they don't want you to leave them. And they think that if you go out and get help somewhere else, you're going to leave them. But teams are also not the answer to everything. Because how many people have you and I worked with, and how many people have I trained, and how many people have come to you directly that are on a team that say, I'm here because I don't get leads, I don't get training. So we have an industry-wide problem where it's not an easy solve, but it's not easy to be successful in real estate, which means you have to do your due diligence, real estate agents. If you're struggling, you should join a team. And you should join probably a new brokerage because your current brokerage isn't supporting your growth. Or you need to show up more to your team and you need to show up more to your brokerage. But brokers have literally told clients that I work with, they're like, no, don't go work with that guy. Yeah. No, that's expensive. Go save your money. I'm like, you've been there for how long? 18 months. Where was he? Where was she when you needed them 18 months ago and your business started slipping? They're not in the business of coaching and training. They're in the business of getting you to do enough deals to keep their lights on.
As we turn the corner into 2024, really curious to know, and I want to hear both your perspectives, and we'll close out with this.
What's your perspective on why people don't join teams?
Yeah, why do you?
No, you.
My perspective?
Yes, Mr. May, Cod May. Instagram @CodMay.
Yeah. My perspective on why people don't join teams. I think there's an array of reasons. I think that, I enjoy working with teams, this, primary, our client base is teams. They have like structures. I think a lot of it comes down to the fact that I think it is the money conversation more than anything of why people don't join teams. Like there's an obsession with the split more than anything, where it's like the people would rather go, They see the top line number. They have this goal where they want to make $100,000 a year, $200,000 a year. They're like, well, this is they don't see the team model as an investment in their business. They see it as an expense. And therefore they just never join a team.
But if you do the math,
100%,
right,
but they don't have anyone helping them do the math. Yeah. That's the issue.
My top agent made first year in, he went from 16,000 to 192,000. Second year, 240,000. Third year, almost 300,000.
Yeah, but you're like, I think the other thing is they've heard stories of other people joining teams that haven't actually panned out. I think there are some team leads, like you mentioned earlier, that like leave a sour taste in people's mouths. I think there's an array of reasons, but I want to wrap up with this. I want to wrap up with the question of like, 2023 was an interesting year, to say the least. It was like for a lot of like, we were down 32% transaction volume, pretty much from across the board, some more than others. Toronto got decimated with transaction volume this year. They were down like 47%. What, like, you with you having the engineer background, having that analytical mind, what do you feel like 2024 is going to look like in the world of real estate? Do you think we're, looking forward, do you think we're going to see an increase in transaction volume? Do you think we'll, and no one has a crystal ball here, but like, I'm just curious to know your guys' opinion around, like, do you think that rates are going to drop? We're in an election year. Like, what do you anticipate, and how do you think agents can help their clients through all the uncertainty in the market, through interest rates, inventory, transaction volume, election year? Like, how can we help agents have better conversations this year? And what do you predict is going to happen in 2024?
No crystal ball. I wish I had one. I'd be a much wealthier man, obviously, if I did. I do think we're going to see some interest rate reductions. The election year plays into that, of course. I mean, there's a vested interest by certain folks to make that happen for their re-election reasons. There's demand. There's pent-up demand, right? Just because rates went from 3 to 5 to 6 to 7 in 2022 and stayed up in those general areas in 2023 doesn't mean there are not buyers out there that want to buy. There are perhaps buyers out there who cannot afford the payment, but there are plenty of buyers who want to buy. I think if those rates that are hovering around 7-ish right now, they for a little while got close to 8. If those get down into the lower 6s, you're going to see a rush of activity. And if they get into the 5s, it'll be a madhouse. It'll be a madhouse possibly approaching the 2021 levels of activity when rates were in the 2s and the 3s, just because a drop from 7.5 to 5.5, people are going to perceive that as, wow, what a change as compared to the new normal. So I'm excited. I think there will be a lot of activity moving forward, pending economic conditions and whatnot. What can agents do to get ready? What can agents do to prepare their clients? I think high level, keep our clients informed. Right? Keep the humans informed. This is what's happening with rates. This is what's happening with the market. Things are trending this way. Things are trending that way. And with regards to individual clients, right? Hey, are you you have a relationship. You've been working with them for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 20 years maybe. If this is their buy box with rates and pricing, are you in that buy box right now? If a seller needs to sell and get X amount of dollars, right? Are we at that price point? Is their mortgage paid down enough? A lot of communication, a lot of analysis. Always do what's in the best interest of your clients.
That's great. Let's wrap up. I'm curious to hear what you have to say about what's going to happen in 24. I think that
same thing, bro. That happens every year. People need to have better conversations. They need to listen better. They need to be more focused on the relationship, not on the transaction, right? They need to actually care, right? Not about a qualified lead, but about a human being in front of them, because if I give a person who is transactional 100 ready buyers, they're going to do one deal. If I give Kaushik 100 buyers, he's going to be like, yo, bro, I need some help because I can't handle all of these people, because I can't service this amount of people at this time properly. So he's going to get help. And that's the difference between people that care and people that don't. The people that care, right, because you ask great questions, right? You listen to what they say. You then see what their needs are. You see if this is the right time because you run the analysis in the background. You give them the options and you let them, we control the process.
Yeah.
They control the decision. Hey, if you do this now, this is what the outcomes could be. If you wait 6 months and the rates are 0.5% lower, here's what could happen. So yes, you might get a better deal. Oh, wait, but you just told me your mom went into the hospital. Okay, now are you paying those medical bills, or is mom got coverage? No, I'm helping mom out. And how much are you helping mom out right now? $5,000. Oh, okay. So with that additional $5,000 a month, are you able to get what you need? I don't know. Maybe let's get you talking to one of our finance professionals. You get them to the you know what, we could buy, but we're not going to buy $1.2 million. We're going to buy an $850,000. Which makes it better for us to wait. Let's see what happens in 3 months where mom's at. If mom's out of the hospital or mom's living with us.
Yeah, life events.
Right? And then we need to make a different decision. It's not just because rates go down and inventory goes up or competition goes up, doesn't mean that buying now is the best for everybody. And agents are so busy spewing the one-liners.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people that they're moving for different reasons, whether it be a divorce, whether it be a relocation, whether it's there are people that are making decisions based on emotion and based on life events. So, this was a ton of fun. Thank you for playing out with us. If somebody were to want to, they want to learn a little bit more about what you're up to in the different markets you work in. Maybe it's an agent-to-agent referral. Maybe they just want to learn a little bit more about Real. Maybe they want to learn a little bit more about you. Maybe they want to get some mentorship from you. Where's the best place we can send them for them to have a conversation?
They can give me a call anytime, area code 480-600-2808, or the website, which is in progress because we're still transitioning into Real properly, thesirkargroup.com. And by the way, gentlemen, I'm jealous of that wine. I'm gonna hit up the wife here and see if we can do a little happy hour at home.
Bro, I'm telling Cody, I'm like, you know what?
Friday happy hour.
We've been, this is like number 200 and something for us.
Yeah,
and I'm feeling like, fuck it. Like, let's get into our groove of like, you know, I think we're going to go more like BAM, just be like wild and crazy and just fuck it, because that's just who we are anyways.
Yeah.
I don't think Cody is quite as wild and crazy as you are.
Bro, you have no fucking idea. Cody puts on the best front of any. Go listen to our podcast with Dylan Jankovic. It just launched a couple of days ago, and about halfway through, when he's talking about the motivator, I love you, brother. But when he's talking about the motivators, about like why he got into business, he shares a fun story, and I would love to see your opinion of it, because he was very, very alive.
It was a great story, you know, and different days have different modes and different days have different moods. So bottom of my heart, I want to say thank you.
Yes.
And I want to say thank you for joining us again. Another episode of the RE Agent Podcast. If you got any value, leave us a review on iTunes.
Share this with somebody.
Yeah.
Maybe not your broker. They might not like this episode.
But that said, so if Vic and I put together a 2024 calculator, and the calculator essentially is going to show you how many conversations that you need to have based on industry stats in order to make the amount of commission that you want to make. You know, I've listened to hundreds of live calls. You know, we have a call center for those that don't know. Listen to hundreds of live transfer calls. We work with some of the largest teams from across North America. Put together a calculator. If you want access to the calculator, just DM me on Instagram @CodMay, the word calculator. I'll give you access to that. So to give you clarity on what you need to do.
I will charge you 99 cents for it.
It's free.
Oh, fine. Give it away.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the RG Podcast. We'll see you soon.